There are over 80 women in Hu village. Yet they want my brother to be the breeder. My brother has been weak since childhood. If he is dragged away to breed, he will surely die. Just a few days into the school term, my mom started rushing me again. Daughter, have you found a man yet? There's only 1 month left before our family has to hand someone over. That's your own biological brother. Can you bear to see it happen? Handing my brother over would mean a certain death for him. But where am I supposed to find a man? Shrouded in thick fog all year round, the yin energy is extremely heavy, perhaps cursed. The village has had a surplus of women and a lack of men for centuries. The women are not only beautiful, with slender figures and delicate skin, but they are also very capable, excellent at doing hard labor. Meanwhile, most of the men don't live past adulthood, always dying young. Because there were fewer and fewer men, the village eventually set a rule. Among all 33 households, lots are drawn every 3 years. The chosen family must hand over a male within 3 years to be used for breeding, to prevent the village from dying out. 3 years ago, my mom unfortunately drew the lot. And the only male in our family is my sickly brother. Even with my mom's careful nursing, his days are visibly numbered. It would be a miracle if he just stayed in bed. But if he's given to all the women in the village to breed, he will definitely be drained to death. That's why my mom is so anxious. Therefore, for the past 3 years, she's constantly called me, telling me to bring a man home. Recently, as the deadline approaches, she calls almost every single day. However, I know the fate of any man brought back there. It means death. From ancient times until now, there hasn't been a single exception. I really don't want to harm anyone. After hanging up the phone, my roommates came back. I was feeling distressed about my brother when I received an invitation from my roommate. Yi, are you free tonight? It's my boyfriend's birthday. He's treating everyone to dinner. I didn't really want to go, but I didn't want to seem antisocial, so I agreed. To my surprise, many people showed up. Even Zhang Yi was there. Zhang Yi, the president of the student council, was a popular figure in our school. He was the golden boy. Excellent grades. And so handsome that many girls had a crush on him. Including me, of course. But I had never confessed my feelings to him, because I knew I eventually had to return to the village. If we leave the village for too long, our bodies start to feel sick, like a fish out of water. We wouldn't live long. But Zhang Yi, he was destined for the outside world. After dinner, we went to a KTV. There, in front of a whole crowd, Zhang Yi confessed to me. He looked at me quietly, with a smile in his eyes. Yi, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? The private room was very dark, so no one saw the tears shimmering in my eyes. Was this a dream? If it was, I really wished I could sit there forever and never wake up. But unfortunately, I heard my own voice echoing in the silence. I'm sorry, I don't like you. After that day, I was isolated by my roommates. All sorts of nasty rumors about me spread across the school. Some said I was stringing several men along while rejecting Zhang Yi. Others said I attended classes during the day and worked as a hostess at night. The most ridiculous one claimed I was a sugar baby kept by a rich old man, which was why I looked down on the young guys at school. In short, in the eyes of the teachers and students, I became a promiscuous woman. I knew these rumors were spread by my roommates. They liked Zhang Yi, and they hated me because I easily got what they desperately wanted. Yet dismissed it so casually, I remained silent through it all. I loved Zhang Yi, so I didn't want to drag him to his death. As for the rumors, the women in our village never cared about such things anyway. A few days later, Zhang Yi sent me a message. He said he was worried about me and wanted to meet at a cafe downtown. He looked as handsome as ever. As soon as we met, he kept apologizing to me. He said he shouldn't have confessed to me that day, causing me to be the target of rumors. I shook my head, smiled and said it didn't matter. After all, in a certain sense, I would indeed become a plaything in the future. After coffee, he asked me out for dinner. Then we went to see a movie together. It was truly a wonderful day. In the cinema, he couldn't help but hold my hand. In the darkness, my heart was pounding. In that moment, I couldn't bear to reject him. After the movie ended, I felt incredibly dizzy. Not only that, waves of heat washed over my body. My legs felt weak, and I couldn't even walk. Zhang Yi saw this and took me to a nearby hotel. That night, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I couldn't control myself. My body didn't even seem to belong to me. In a brief moment of clarity, I looked at Zhang Yi's handsome face and thought in a daze, giving my first time to him is still far better than to those sickly men in the village. After the passion faded, I fell into a deep sleep. But in the middle of the night, I was woken by voices. It was Zhang Yi's voice. He was in the bathroom, talking on the phone. I walked over quietly, only to hear him boasting smugly to someone. I got her. What unattainable flower? One shrugged. They are all the same in bed. But she really is beautiful. And her skin is incredible. Felt amazing. Anyway, her reputation is already ruined by me. No one else will want her. I'll play with her for a while, and when I'm bored, I'll pass her to you guys. You can all take turns. As for the rest of his words, I had no desire to listen anymore. I lay back on the bed and sent a message to my mom. I found a boyfriend. I will bring him back. When Zhang Yi heard I wanted to take him to my hometown, he hesitated. We've only been together for 3 days. Meeting your parents this quickly, isn't it a bit too rushed? I pretended to be hurt. I gave my first time to you. I am your woman from now on. To you. We've only been dating for 3 days. But to me, I've had a crush on you for 3 years. Zhang Yi was surprised. You had a crush on me? Then that time at KTV when I confessed. Why did you reject me? My mind was a mess then. I thought you had drunk too much and were talking nonsense. I was afraid you'd regret it when you sobered up. Besides, you're so outstanding. I felt I wasn't good enough for you. Which is why I refused. After returning to the dorm, I cried all night. What I said was half true and half false. I really did have a crush on him for 3 years. And I did shed a few tears. Though definitely not to the point of crying all night. Perhaps my tears were too moving. Or perhaps my submissiveness these past few days had restored his ego. Soon, he agreed to accompany me home for the Mid-Autumn Festival. Taking the bus, then transferring to a car from the county to the river, and finally walking along a dirt path for 2 hours into the mountains. After a long, exhausting journey, we finally arrived home the night before mid-autumn. Upon arriving, my mom didn't even glance at me. The moment she saw him, she kept her eyes glued to Zhang Yi, sizing him up constantly. You must be Yi Yu's boyfriend, right? Oh my, what a handsome young man. You look even younger than in the photos. The women in our village are all beautiful. My mom gave birth to me when she was 16. Although she is in her 30s now, she looks just like a woman in her early 20s. Being enthusiastically praised by a beautiful woman, Zhang Yi was clearly flattered. Hello, Auntie, you are very beautiful too. I then saw my brother, whom I hadn't seen for half a year. His condition had worsened. He was terribly thin, with only a few sparse hairs left on his head, and all his eyebrows had fallen out. Zhang Yi was startled by Hu Jian's appearance, briefly showing a look of shock and disgust. But that look vanished in a flash, and he quickly put on a sincere expression. Hello, Auntie. Hello, brother. You must be Hu Jian. Hello, I am Zhang Yi, your sister's boyfriend. Hello, brother-in-law. Just call me Brother Yi. A rare smile flashed across my brother's pale face. I knew he was very happy right now, and very excited, because his savior had arrived. It had been a long time since we cooked so many dishes. Mutton, deer meat, snake meat, bull penis, chives, and various fresh flowers and fungi. Mom was exceptionally hospitable, pulling Zhang Yi to the seat of honor. She kept putting food in his bowl. Eat more, don't be polite. Thank you, Andy. This meal is too lavish. Zhang Yi took a few bites, and then realized something. He leaned in close to me. These are all aphrodisiacs. His voice wasn't loud, but we were sitting close. Not only me, but my mom and brother heard it clearly too. A tense expression flashed across their faces. I quickly explained, our village is heavy with yin energy and dampness. My brother's health is also poor, so we often eat these to supplement our yang energy. These ingredients are very expensive. If it weren't for an honored guest like you, we couldn't afford to eat this normally. I see. Thank you, Andy. I'm Yi Yu's boyfriend, not an outsider. You really don't need to be so polite with me. Zhang Yi gave my mom a grateful smile. Yes, yes, indeed, you soon won't be an outsider anymore. My mom smiled back. Finally, dinner was over. Zhang Yi went to take a shower. Mom handed me a bowl of pitch-black medicine. Make him drink this in a bit. My face went pale. I immediately understood what my mom meant. Tomorrow was the day to hand him over, and she intended to test the goods tonight. I wanted to tell her that I had already tested him, and he was perfectly fine to use for a few years, but as the words reached my lips, I swallowed them back. I didn't want to tell my mom about what had happened. Otherwise, Zhang Yi would likely suffer. Here, women are the sky. Wives are the supreme authority. Any man who dares disrespect a woman will face severe punishment, making them wish for death. I lay in bed pretending to be asleep. Not long after, I heard the sound of someone getting up. It was Mom going out. She had specifically put on makeup tonight, looking absolutely charming and seductive. Testing the goods is usually quick, but I waited for half an hour, and Mom still hadn't returned. I couldn't stand it anymore. So I got out of bed and walked to my room door. The door was closed and the lights were out, but the people inside weren't sleeping. Unspeakable sounds seeped through the door, one after another. Heavy panting. Then I heard Zhang Yi's voice. Am I better, or is Yi better? Both are good, you are both so good. Like needles piercing me. A dense, aching pain spread through my heart. I stood there for a moment, and just as I was about to leave, I suddenly noticed my brother had appeared at his doorway, sitting in his wheelchair, quietly looking at me. In the darkness, his eyes were bright. The wooden doors didn't have good soundproofing. He had naturally heard the sounds from the room too. He gave me a look of pity and mouthed softly, "Sorry." I smiled faintly. I know. Mom didn't come back until a.m. Early the next morning. She looked absolutely radiant and seemed to be in a great mood. Equally in a good mood was Zhang Yi. While he was talking to me, his gaze would occasionally drift over to my mom. I took it all in, but didn't say anything. After breakfast, I took Zhang Yi to the mountain behind the village. There is an old hot spring up there. The village women love coming here to bathe. If a family brings a new man from the outside, they usually bring him here first, to wash away the dirt from the outside world. By the time we arrived, some people were already there. I took one look and recognized them. They didn't like the outside world. Having only studied for a few years, they had stayed in the village ever since. They were all very happy to see me. Hu Shang, who was leading them, called out, "Yi, you're back. We missed you so much. Come down quickly." Their eyes then shifted to the side, to the man holding my hand. My boyfriend. So it's our brother-in-law. Come on, take off your clothes and come bathe with us. Zhang Yi's eyes had been glued to them for a while. Only because I was standing next to him, he forced himself to hold back. He feigned calmness and asked, "Are all these girls from your village?" "Yes, are they pretty?" I nodded, asking him with a smile. Zhang Yi didn't answer, but his expression said it all. Seeing him constantly staring into the pool, yet acting so reserved, I decided to give him a hand. I pushed him straight in. As soon as he fell in, the women giggled and pulled him to the center. "Brother-in-law, are you feeling hot? Let me help you take your clothes off. Oh my, you even have abs. Can sister touch them? Why are you so shy? Look, even your ears are red." I didn't get into the water. I just stood on the shore, smiling and watching quietly. Although Zhang Yi pretended to push them away and kept looking at me. In reality, the corners of his mouth were practically reaching his ears. If he hadn't left his phone behind, I'm sure he wouldn't have been able to resist bragging to his friends again. After all, this was a windfall of beautiful women falling right into his lap. I casually said, "You guys play first. I'm going back to grab something." Zhang Yi didn't return until past PM. When he got home, he looked a bit unnatural. His lips were swollen, and there were several obvious hickeys on his neck. I pretended not to notice. "We have an event tonight. Let's head over together." "What event?" "Yi, I'm a bit tired. I don't want to go out tonight." Of course, I knew why he was tired. Last night it was my mom, and today it was Hu Sheng and the other girls. Even a body made of iron couldn't handle that. That won't do. The whole village celebrates Mid-Autumn Festival together. Once tonight's event is over, you can sleep as much as you want for the next few days. I won't bother you at all. Really, I promise. When I led Zhang Yi to the center of the village, everyone in the village was already there. When the granny village head saw Zhang Yi, her eyes lit up. The others also smiled, looking at him with satisfied gazes. Zhang Yi felt uneasy being stared at by everyone, and couldn't help asking me, why are they all acting so weird? What's weird about it? I can't put my finger on it, but their stares are giving me the creeps. Saying that, he glanced around the crowd again and asked me in surprise, "Why is it only women? Where's your brother? He's not feeling well. He's resting at home, then what about the other men?" That truly was a good question. Tonight was the night to test the goods. Naturally, there was no need for other men to be present. Having him as the main character was more than enough. As I was thinking of an answer, Mom had already walked over and pulled him to the front. She dragged Zhang Yi and happily showed him off to the villagers. "Everyone, this is Zhang Yi, 21 years old. My Yi just brought him back from the city yesterday. Take a look, are you satisfied?" As soon as Mom finished speaking, Hu Sheng, standing nearby, laughed coquettishly. Satisfied, extremely satisfied. Her seductive smile made the other women join in with ambiguous laughter. They chuckled. "Auntie San, your Yi is really something." Yeah. Going to a university really makes a difference. We haven't seen one this good in the village for years. Oh my. This young man looks so fit and healthy. The women's gazes were like sharp knives, seemingly piercing right through Zhang Yi's clothes. Staring hungrily at his body, Zhang Yi's face turned noticeably pale. He was a top student, after all, and had read many books. His gaze quickly scanned the crowd, and finally landed on me. What is going on here? What do they mean by what they're saying? I smiled. Have you ever heard the saying? The highest tier hunters often appear as prey. As my words fell, Zhang Yi finally realized something was terribly wrong. He aggressively shook off my mom's hand and desperately sprinted outward. Unfortunately, having drank the bone-softening soup for 2 days, and having exhausted himself all day, where would he find the strength? Moreover, the women in our village can even catch wild boars and wolves bare-handed, let alone a weak-legged shrimp like him. Zhang Yi only managed to run a few dozen meters before being grabbed by Mom and the others. They lifted him by the back of his collar, like an eagle catching a chick, and dragged him all the way back. Looking at Zhang Yi kneeling on the ground, the villagers seemed slightly displeased. It's supposed to last 3 years. Does your family seed have enough stamina? Oh, he definitely does. I tested the goods myself last night. And didn't Zhang Yang and her friends test him this afternoon too? After Mom spoke, Hu Shang nodded with a grin. Auntie San didn't lie to you. He is indeed excellent. Amidst the chatter of the crowd, Zhang Yi gradually regained some clarity, testing the goods. Reading these words drifted into his ears. He shivered in terror and struggled to move, but was firmly pinned down by my mom. A man over 1.8 meters tall now had absolutely no power to fight back. Just like fish meat on a chopping board waiting to be butchered. With bloodshot eyes, he glared fiercely at me, his eyes almost splitting. You, what are you all trying to do? Are you crazy? What are you talking about? I walked over, lifted his chin, and caressed his handsome face inch by inch. It was exactly the same face, but now I felt no affection for it at all. I smiled lightly. Don't you like playing with women? As your girlfriend, it's only natural that I satisfy you. What do you mean? I only like you. When did I ever like playing with women? Men are truly hypocritical. I suppose the only thing hard on your entire body is your mouth. Oh, wait. There is one other place. Still pretending? I heard everything you said on the phone that night. Didn't you enjoy my mom? Oh right, and Hu Shang? Are the aunts and sisters in our village beautiful? Tonight, you can properly enjoy them all. After I finished, I urged the granny village head. It's getting late. Let's begin, according to the village rules. The 15th of August is a major occasion. On this day, the women gather for a reunion feast. At the same time, every 3 years, lots must be drawn to see which family provides the seed next time. Besides that, it is also the day to break the fast. The so-called breaking the fast means consummating the deeds. Zhang Yi was suppressed and thrown into the room. Men have no right to sit at the dining table. But since he had to exert a lot of effort tonight, the tonics to boost his yang energy were not spared. After the meal, Hu Shang drew the lot. She was an outgoing girl, drawing it and happily stuffing it into her pocket. Once everything was done, the women, one by one, began their banquet of desire. I followed the crowd, standing at the very end of the line when each person came out of the room. They wore a face full of satisfaction. After all, the previous seed had died 2 years ago, and today's seed was of such high quality. But the ones who came out later were not quite as happy. They kept complaining about Hu Shang, saying she shouldn't have tested the goods early in the afternoon. Finally, at M, I also entered the room. The smell in the room was horrendous. The scent of bodily fluids, sweat, and all sorts of disgusting odors mixed together, making me nauseous. Zhang Yi lay on the bed, his 4 limbs tied to the bedposts. He lay there blankly, just like a dead fish. I stood beside the bed and watched him coldly for a long while before finally speaking. Was it fun? Are you happy? Only then did Zhang Yi notice my presence. A glimmer of light finally appeared. In his dead, ashen eyes, the man who once treated me as a mere plaything now lowered his arrogant head. Tears streamed down his face as he begged, "You, I know I was wrong. Save me." I indeed did not lie to Zhang Yi. After mid-autumn, he was able to lie down every day and sleep for as long as he wanted. Not only that, he also lived a life where clothes were put on for him, and meals were fed straight to his mouth. A month later, almost all the women in the village received good news of pregnancy. Everyone was overjoyed. The only thing that worried them was that Zhang Yi started a hunger strike for those who hadn't conceived yet. They were burning with anxiety. After taking turns to persuade him and seeing it was useless, they eventually had to come to me. After all, I was the one who brought him back. So that evening, I carried some food to see him. We hadn't seen each other in a month, and Zhang Yi had become a completely different person. The person he was now was a far cry from the sunny young man. In my memories, thinking of that dazzling figure on the soccer field back then, for a moment, it felt like a lifetime ago. Seeing me, Zhang Yi tried to raise his hand, but having no strength left, it quickly dropped back down. I sighed. "I heard you're on a hunger strike. Just eat a little." He looked at me and sneered, "Eat, so you can keep using me?" I frowned. "Don't make it sound so ugly. Zhang Yi, I gave you a chance. When I rejected your confession, you had people spread rumors, and you even drugged me. I reduced the dosage of your bone-softening soup. But that night, you didn't push my mom away. When Hu Shang and the others took off your clothes, you didn't refuse either. When I exposed all of this," his face turned pale. He instinctively lowered his head, not daring to meet my eyes. However, the man he was now no longer cared about dignity. "Do you even know that what you're doing is illegal? You didn't want this either, right? I beg you, please let me go. I was a scumbag before, but haven't I been punished enough now?" I shook my head. "I can't let you go. I can't risk the entire village. My mom is here. My brother is here, and so are my other relatives." After pondering for a moment, Zhang Yi said, "Then let's get married. If we're married, they can't touch me anymore, right?" Marrying me would indeed let him bid farewell to all this. The men in the village, after completing their breeding duty, were allowed to find a woman to marry, though the 3-year term wasn't up yet. Since Zhang Yi was determined to seek death, I could go plead with the granny village head. As I was considering it, Zhang Yi begged me again. I really know I was wrong. I would never dare to hurt you again. From now on, I just want to stay here and live a good life with you. Zhang Yi, oh Zhang Yi. Then I shall give you one last chance. Because I am the only university student in the village. And after my repeated pleas, the granny village head finally agreed to my request. My mom and brother were both very happy. Busying themselves with the preparations, Mom made a promise to me. Yi, from now on, I will absolutely never set foot in your room again. Yet, what I received instead was news of his escape. He left with Hu Shang. Although he had been locked up for a while, he was the former school heartthrob after all. For Hu Shang to be charmed by him was entirely expected. Upon hearing the news, I knew I had lost. Girl, he is not a good person. He was just using you. That day, when I went to beg the granny village head, that's what she told me. I knew he was using me. But I really didn't want to harm anyone. I just wanted to save his life. If he truly starved himself to death, it would mean he died because of me. That day, the granny village head and I made a pact. If Zhang Yi lived a good life with me from then on, we would spare his life and treat him as one of our own. But if he betrayed me, he would be left to the villagers' disposal, and I would have to remain in the village forever, never to marry for the rest of my life. Now it seems I lost the bet. I joined the women of the village in the hunt. Searching the mountains overnight, I brought Zhang Yi in. It took 2 hours of walking along a winding mountain path. He might not remember it, but the key was Hu Shang. She knew the way out of the mountains, but there was one thing she didn't know. That path was now overgrown with dense jungle and infested with countless wild beasts. Just as dawn was breaking, we found them in a thicket. We found Zhang Yi and Hu Shang. They both looked extremely disheveled and were currently surrounded by 2 mountain demons. When Hu Shang saw us, she desperately cried out for help. Save me! Don't beg them. They are here to capture us. Run! Seeing us, Zhang Yi was so terrified he swung a stick wildly, trying to drive away the mountain demons. However, these beasts deep in the mountains weren't afraid of a mere stick. Soon, one of the mountain demons let out a roar and lunged ferociously towards him. Watch out! Hu Zhang's face changed, and she quickly tried to step forward to help. But then, in the very next second, Zhang Yi fiercely yanked her, pulling her in front of him as a shield. A massive mouthful of blood instantly spewed from Hu Zhang's mouth. You? Why? She stared at Zhang Yi in utter disbelief. She couldn't understand why the man she betrayed the village to protect would do such a thing. He sneered, "Did you think I really liked you? Dream on." Hu Shang, I couldn't bear it any longer, and rushed forward immediately, but it was too late. Although we drove away the mountain demons, Hu Shang was dead. Her heart had suffered a fatal blow, and she couldn't be saved. Zhang Yi was dragged back. The village has absolutely no mercy. for any man who tries to escape. And on top of that, he had killed someone. I went to the dungeon where Zhang Yi was held. The once spirited and arrogant man was now curled up on the ground, barely clinging to life, like a stray dog. I walked over and said indifferently, "This time, I can no longer save you, Yi. It was you. You did this on purpose. Didn't you? You knew we couldn't escape." Zhang Yi stared at me like a madman. If he still had any strength left, he probably would have lunged forward to fight me to the death. I nodded and frankly admitted it. Yes, I did it on purpose. I never wanted to harm anyone. I left Hu village, firstly to see the outside world, and secondly to find a way to save the men in this village. But Zhang Yi, you time and time again hurt me and used me. Now, I will no longer show mercy. Zhang Yi, if you hadn't run, you could have lived a good life. In a few years, I might have even found a way to help you escape. What I said came from the bottom of my heart. However, Zhang Yi couldn't hear a word of it. He gritted his teeth and said, "You liar. You would never let me go. How could you possibly help me escape?" With a man who had lost his mind, there was nothing more to say. I didn't lie to him. I was pregnant, and I didn't want the child to be fatherless. So, out of pity, I wanted to spare his life. But I also didn't want to spend my life guarding against the man beside my pillow. So I specifically told them to stop giving him the bone-softening soup, and relaxed his guard. If Zhang Yi had just been obedient, the things from the past, I would have let go. It's just a pity that he ultimately disappointed me, and even cost Hu Shang her life. I shouted out the door, "Take him away. Keep a close eye on him, yes." Village head. After that day, I became the village head. I had been smart since childhood, and the granny village head thought highly of me, always hoping I would take her position. But I wasn't willing. 3 years ago, when Mom drew the lot, I went to beg the granny village head to spare my brother. She said the roles could not be changed, since our family couldn't hand over a man, then I must go to the outside world to find one. Since I had always yearned for the outside world anyway, I entered university. On the very first day of school, I spotted Zhang Yi in the crowd. He was tall and handsome, perfect material for breeding. But the more books I read, the more I hesitated. I realized that this centuries-old rule in Hu village was wrong. Women are human beings, and men are human beings too. They shouldn't be treated like this. So, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I secretly observed him for 3 years, and had a crush on him for 3 years. In the end, I discovered he wasn't as harmless as he appeared on the surface. He changed girlfriends constantly, often forcing them against their will. One girl even had nude photos taken by him, and later committed suicide. I endured it over and over, until he actively delivered himself to my door. My rejection at KTV was just playing hard to get. I knew all along that he was behind the school rumors, and I knew he spiked my drink while we watched the movie. But it didn't matter. We were going to sleep together sooner or later anyway. A little earlier or later made no difference to me. I only felt a sense of regret that I could never leave Hu village in this lifetime. I had Zhang Yi thrown at the very spot where Hu Shang died, leaving him to fend for himself. Half a year later, the police came. Zhang Yi's family had reported him missing. The police searched for a long time and finally found their way here. I actively admitted that. Half a year ago, Zhang Yi came back to my hometown with me. After we had an argument, he left. Everyone in the village gave statements identical to mine. Later, they found Zhang Yi's skeletal remains in the mountains. His cause of death was determined to be a wild animal attack. There were no traces of human involvement found. The case was ultimately ruled an accident. They left empty-handed. Year after year passed, and the men in the village grew fewer and fewer. One day, as I went into the mountains to gather herbs, I suddenly found an unconscious man in the deep forest. This man looked very familiar. It seemed just a few days ago on the news, the police had released his wanted photo. I remembered. He was a serial killer who had raped and murdered over a dozen young women. He was being pursued by the police and had been on the run. I took him back with me. After he woke up, he looked at my face with a lustful, drooling gaze. I knew the village was saved once again.